Winning Blueprint presents.
5 minutes or less.
Have had so much success with it in the past, I've brought it back. 5 minute or less series. Welcome, I'm your host Lou. Thank you for joining me. 5 minute or less series. This time, it's the schedule release variety. I'm here with the San Francisco 49ers, the NFC Conference champion San Francisco 49ers. Got 5 minutes on the clock. Let's get started. So anytime I look at a schedule, first thing I look at, primetime games. We're talking about the San Francisco 49ers, huge brand in the National Football League. It's not a matter of, are you going to be on primetime? How many times are you on primetime? Look at the schedule. They're on primetime the maximum amount of times, 5. So you go to Thursday, week 4 at St. Louis. They had some classic battles last season. It's a divisional game, 2 tough teams. That should be a lot of fun. You look at Sunday Night Football. That's big boy football. And they got 2 matchups. Week 2 at Seattle. Man, did the Seattle Seahawks paste you in Seattle last year or what? Week 2 early season matchup. They think that they deserve this division. They think that they're the best team in this division. What better way than to send a message early in the season on primetime Sunday Night Football in their own stadium? Got to go to Seattle and find a way to get one. You look at week 5. You're home for Houston. That's a big matchup as well. The Texans are a really good team in the AFC. You're a really good team in the NFC. Time for you to really test yourself and see how strong you really are. Got the Texans at home on Sunday Night Football. Should be a lot of fun. Week 12, Monday Night Football at Washington. Wow. On the road against Robert Griffin III, Colin Kaepernick, Robert Griffin III, 2 of the better dual threat quarterbacks in the league. That should be one whale of a football game. That is must-see TV. You look at week 16, home for Atlanta. Now look, this is a rematch of the NFC Championship game from a season ago, and that was a doozy. Look, this one could go a long way in determining who's going to host a championship game. And we don't know what the records will be at week 16. However, we do know those are 2 good football teams. And they'll both be in the playoffs. Barring any catastrophic injuries, they'll both be in the playoffs. This game could go a long way towards telling who will be playing where when that game occurs. You look at divisional games. Seattle, week 14. You got them at home. And this is the team right here that you need to focus in on. Now, look, you can't sleep on the Rams. The Cardinals are upgrading their roster. They're a new-look team. But Seattle is where it's at. It's the arms race out there. You two have been making moves, jockeying back and forth to see who's going to take over this division. Right now, it's your division. And until they take it from you, it's yours. You got to go out and prove that it's yours. Week 14 at home, you need to take care of business at home. Week 2, that's the big one for me. That's a game that we already talked about. Primetime game, Sunday Night Football on the road. Let's see how that game shapes out. You look at St. Louis, and week 13, you got them at home. This was a team you struggled with mightily last year. You did not beat them at all last year, having a tie and a loss to them. You got to find a way to beat St. Louis. You can't allow the St. Louis Rams to dominate you the way that they did last season. And so you got to find a way. And yes, I said dominate because you had them and you let them off the hook. And then they went to San Francisco and really took it to you offensively. They put up about 24, 28 points on the board and tied it up. And you couldn't shake them. And it ended up being a tie. You got to play better football against the St. Louis Rams. So week 4, we talked about it already. That's a Thursday night matchup. You go to St. Louis. That should be a great matchup. I think the Rams are a very young and hungry team. You got to look out for the St. Louis Rams. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. And they got a quarterback now. And so it's not going to be as easy as it was last year. Week 6, you got them at your place. Take care of business in the division at home. Week 17, you wrap up your season at Arizona on the road. So the NFL switched it up. Last year, you were at home against Arizona in week 17. This year, you're going to be on the road at Arizona in week 17. You look at anomalies, and for me, anomalies are any scheduling quirks that see you play 3 or more games straight at home or on the road, 3 out of 4 at home or on the road, 4 out of 5 at home or on the road. You have an anomaly on your schedule. It's a home anomaly. You got 2 of them actually at home, and so, wow, the scheduling gurus really looked out for you here. You look at week 13 versus St. Louis, week 14 versus Seattle, week 16 versus Atlanta, all home games. That's a tough stretch of football, but it's all at home, so you'll take it. You look at another 3 out of 4 stretch, week 3 versus Indy, week 5 versus Houston, week 6 versus Arizona. Again, another tough stretch, but they're all at home. You will take it every day of the week. And it didn't penalize you because you don't have an away anomaly, and so they didn't even beat you up for having 2 home anomalies, so you really lucked up there. Bye week, week 9. That's as good as it gets. Right down the middle, you take it all day, every day of the week. You look at Kotze games, and Kotze games for me, circle on the calendar games, week 16 versus Atlanta. That's the one that I see as one of those circle on the calendar games. That's the team you played in the NFC Championship game last year. That should be a really big game in the NFC landscape. Also, week 10 at Washington, Monday Night Football. That's going to be a huge matchup. So the timeout, and every team has a timeout on their schedule. For me, you're a 5-star team. That's first and foremost. What I mean by that is the NFL has a maximum amount of primetime games that you can have, and it's 5. And if you have all 5 of those filled in, you're a 5-star team. There are only 9 of them in the league. You are one of them. You are a 5-star team. You look at those anomalies, and you've got 2 of them at home. Many teams don't get away with having 2 home anomalies and then not having some kind of anomaly on the road to kind of counteract that and balance it out. You got away scot-free. 2 home anomalies, no road anomaly. That's a huge quirk in your schedule. Well, you heard that sound in the background a while ago. That means my time is up. That's been the San Francisco 49ers schedule release in 5 minutes or less.
5 minutes or less.